Well. You see, I quit my job. Well, not exactly. I mean, I did quit, yes, but it's not like I'm jobless right now. I actually got basically my dream job that I've been wanting for 10 plus years, which is very, very, very weird, based off of my appearance and everything. So I'll explain what that is later on in this video, but this is just such a long time coming, and let me explain to you why exactly I left and what made me just say, you know what, enough is enough, I can't take it anymore, I'm losing my mind. You see, I had been working at this job for about 4 years, and the first 2 years were actually really, really great. They were fantastic, you know, no real issues, no real drama, no bullshit. Made good money, was fairly happy for the most part. Yeah, there was some stupid shit, but you're gonna have that regardless of where you go. And once COVID hit, things kind of started to change rapidly. And I'm not gonna say what store it is, but I will give a hint that it is a home improvement store. I worked in the garden center, and the thing is my position basically was in charge of all the plants. I was the plant guy. Everyone went to me for advice, everyone went to me for questions, that sort of thing, and I knew everything. Not everything, but most of everything. There were some things where I needed help with, but that was totally fine. The thing is I was almost forcefully enacted as like a supervisor for my department. Now, that's not to say we didn't actually have one. We did, but the problem is he was forced to do multiple departments, so he had to balance his time between one department to another department to another. And then upper management would sit there and pull him to do all this other bullshit that wasn't even his job. So basically, we saw him extremely minimal amounts, like maybe an hour a day. On a better day, maybe 3 out of a 9-10 hour shift. So it's not that great. So basically what had happened was everyone went to me for everything because I was basically the go-to guy. And under normal conditions, that's fine. But once COVID hit, no one wanted to work. No one wanted to work. And that was the key thing, is that prior to COVID, we had a bunch of people in the departments and other departments that would come help out, whether they were part-time, whether they were seasonal, or full-time. They would all help. Once COVID hit, and you know, the unemployment was rolling in, and Biden's whole thing, whatever, I'm not gonna discuss that, whatever. No one wanted to work. And the main reason why is, why would you want to work for a job where you're only getting paid about $10, maybe $12 an hour for however many hours a week, right? Why would you want to do that and make significantly less than the people who were on unemployment making $600 plus a week? They were making more than me, and I made over $15 an hour. They were making significantly more than I was. So why would they work? And that was the thing. We'd have people that would apply, I guess, but these were the people that I suppose weren't getting the unemployment, that $600 a week. And those people that were coming in were just shady people, just kind of sketchy. Not all of them by any means, but you could just see it. They were just not the most well-kept people. They look like they just kind of got out of bed and just applied to the store, and they got hired because they didn't have a choice. We had to hire someone, right? And half the time they failed the drug test. In fact, since Michigan legalized weed, hell, most people failed that drug test because everyone's smoking. I guess that is what it is here. I don't know. I don't smoke personally. I know I look like I might, but I don't. Anyway, so what would end up happening is we were never well staffed. Never. Not once last year in 2020, and not once this year. We maybe had a handful of people on the better days, we maybe had a handful of people working at the same time. And when you had everyone coming into the store wanting something, whether or not they even needed it, they had money to spend and they wanted to spend it. And we didn't have the manpower to help. So we were constantly getting cussed at by customers. In one case, I got spat at. People just becoming extremely angry, kind of screaming in your face. It didn't matter. They were just... The people were getting shittier as COVID was progressing during 2020. We got a new store manager that year as well, and at first she seemed okay. I didn't really have any sort of strong opinion. I was pretty laid back about the whole thing. And then once this year in 2021 started going around, she started almost turning into this Nazi type thing. Like, you had to do things her way or it was the highway. Whether or not your way was smarter or whether or not your way made more sense, if this is what she wanted to do, you're gonna fucking do it. And if not, then she's gonna just bitch and moan and you'd be a target, right? And that's kind of how it went. And I'm not a kiss ass whatsoever. And you would see a lot of these people, not even really a lot, but some of these people would be kissing her ass and whatnot, and then they would be on, as I call, the good boy list, and then a lot of people were on the bad boy list. At the time, I was kind of hovering in the middle. She didn't exactly know what to think of me. She just knew I worked in the department, and I knew my shit, which was whatever. But as 2021 kept going on, like February, March, she was like demanding unreasonable things with the manpower that we had. We only had like a couple seasonals hired, and it was just 2 full-timers there. So there was such little amounts of staffing in a huge department, and she expected you to get all this stuff done, and it was just it wasn't possible ever. And she would kind of always grill you. How come this didn't get done? How come that didn't get done? Whatever. And it was like, it's not possible when at the time, out of a 8-9 hour day, I'm alone for 7 hours, and most of the stuff I have to do is on a forklift or power equipment that requires 2 people. What are you not seeing here? She didn't get it, and she didn't care. She didn't like excuses. She didn't like any reasoning. It was just, you didn't do that. Basically what she gave off is, you didn't do that, you suck, blah, 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 whatever. And it was like, fucking hell, man. It's basically what it seemed like is I was never doing anything right. And anything I did do completely right, it didn't matter. Because I didn't do the 35 things that was on the list. I was only able to do maybe 10. With, again, the time and the manpower we did and or did not have. And it was just fucking ridiculous. In 2020, I was stressed out. I was so stressed out with everything. The medical bills were coming in because I had the surgery, and if you didn't know, I had a surgery. It didn't do anything. So I had contacted the medical department, the surgeon and all that stuff, and said, hey, you know, guys, this didn't do anything. Can I get like a lower bill or something? And they even proved that it didn't do anything. And they're like, nah, you have to pay the full amount. And I was like, what? Why? Well, we performed a procedure, and technically it was a success, but it didn't do anything, so we want to perform a more invasive procedure. Mind you, that procedure would have cost a lot more money even with insurance, and I couldn't afford that. I'm still paying on the fucking bills now. It's just stupid. So the procedure didn't work. I was stressed out, and I'm still in pain to this day, but I'm not, whatever. It's neither here or there. I've dealt with it for years now, so whatever. And with all the pain, the bullshit, the stress, the bills, I was just basically to a breaking point in 2020 towards like the busier season, right? Okay. Makes sense. So I was basically so stressed out to the point where I was bringing my work home with me. You know what I mean? Like, when I was home, when I was on my days off, when I was on vacation, whatever the case would be, I would constantly think about work. Was this getting done? Was that getting done? Oh shit, who's working today and not doing something? Oh, who's working today? Are they going to be able to get this? You know, that sort of thing. It was never a moment where I was just kind of blank. Didn't think about anything. Didn't care about whatever. I was always worried because chances are if I had those like 2 days off in a row, I would come back to work and it was just a war zone. And that's not to say that some of the people I work with were absolutely useless. Of course, in any job, you're going to have people that don't do much and then other people that do. The problem, again, resides in the fact that we were never properly staffed. So the people that, even if they were great at their job, they couldn't even do it because we were never staffed. And there was too much of a demand from customers to where they couldn't focus on the things that they needed to do because they were too busy helping customers, right? And that was the problem. And it almost felt like if I got, even if I did get every single thing done on that list that I was given, I was off 2 days, and then the department was just like a tornado hit, and it would just be like, oh my god, I have to do everything all over again, and I busted my ass so bad to get it all done. And that was just like an everyday occurrence, you know? It had gotten so bad to where I was in just like a deep state of depression. There would be times where I'd wake up physically sick because I knew I had to go to work, and I was just gonna be, I knew I was gonna be miserable. You know what I mean? I knew I was gonna be miserable. There was times where I would be physically sick to the point where I was throwing up in the morning because it's like, oh god, another day at work, another day in basically misery. And no one wants to work in a job where they feel miserable. And the thing is, it's like the people I worked with, I love them. I still to this day love them. You know, everyone in my department I loved for the most part. There was a couple where I was like, whatever. Management, what are the chances that you're gonna like every single manager that's in the establishment, right? And I didn't. And there was a couple, like my direct supervisor, who is amazing. I love the guy. He's fantastic, and him and I got along really well. A couple of the other managers got along fantastic with. There were some that we just mutually did not like each other, and that was fine. And then there was upper management, who, one of which, I love the guy. He's fantastic again, and I hope he's doing okay, because I know he's dealing with a lot of like kind of depression issues himself, and he's a great guy, so I wish him nothing but the best. But then there's other upper management people who kind of had it out for me, and I knew they did. You know, they would sit there and pretend that they were your best friend, but then you'd hear through the grapevine that they were saying shit about you, and it was just like, whatever. So I kind of tried to steer clear from them. And that, you know, you're always going to have that at any job no matter what, right? So it is what it is. But then it was just this constant battle. Every day was just a constant battle between customers being nasty and COVID. When COVID happened, it was like, you know, you get the nasty customer here or there before COVID, but once COVID happened, I want to say it was like every 4 out of 10 customers was just a fucking dickhead. And it was hard to kind of bite my tongue, because I'll do that, but it was really, towards the end there, it was getting to the point where I was afraid I was just going to go off on someone who was just being mean to me, or my manager, or to my fellow associates who just didn't deserve that, you know. And I didn't want to go down that route. Anyway, I'm like trailing off topic here and just kind of all over the place, but it's just a big sigh of relief for me, because it's just, I've wanted to leave since 2020, and I didn't know how. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have a clue how I was gonna do it, what I was gonna do. I was afraid because of all the bills and stuff, and all the money thing, whatever. But my fiance, and man, she is my rock, you know. She told me that I don't care if you're without a job for 6 months, a year, or forever. We can work through it no matter what. Get the hell out of there, because it is ruining you. And it was. It was to the point where it was like, I was afraid I was gonna like stoop so low in a depression where I was just gonna fucking kill myself or something, because it was that bad. And she didn't want to see me do that. That, or I would have kept working there and I would have had a heart attack like my father did at a very young age. And I knew that was a very, very likely possibility because of how stressed out my father was during the worst times of his work career thing. I was probably at that same level as his, and I didn't want to go down the way my dad did with a heart attack. And it's very likely because the males in my father's side of the family tend to have a lot of heart problems, and I'm no exception to that rule. So, long story short, what ended up happening with the whole job situation was I walked into an establishment, and it was actually a florist. And I walked in there, and I was talking to the lady working there, and she was really nice, whatever. And she asked me if I wanted to see any of the flowers that were in, like, the fridge in the back. Because I was looking at some things, I was kind of liking it, not liking it. Maybe I wanted to swap out something if they had it, right? Okay, cool. So we go in the fridge, and I point out a couple of flowers by name, some of which were the Latin name. And she was really thrown off by that. She was like, kind of like, how do you know what these are? And I was like, yeah, well, I've been working with plants for about 10 years now, and to be honest with you, I've kind of always wanted to be a florist. I can't even tell you why. It's just one of those things where I've always wanted to be one, and no one was able to give me the time of day or the opportunity to go into a floristry type job. And I told her that, you know what, back in Illinois and even some parts of like southwestern Indiana, I had applied to like 5 different florist jobs, or even like greenhouse / florist jobs, and all of them just shot me down, didn't give me the time of day, because I have no professional experience. I have no degree, no certification, no anything, no schooling, no nothing. And she was just kind of like, well, why not just apply here? And I was like, okay. How for what? And she was like, well, we got a greenhouse job position available, and maybe you might work your way into learning about floristry. The guy that runs the place has been teaching for 20 some odd years. And I was like, really? Huh. Okay. So I got the application, filled out the application, and turned it in. Talked to the guy a couple days later, and I was pretty much hired on the spot after like a 30-40 minute conversation with the guy. And I was just kind of blown away. I was mystified by it, because I was like, I've been wanting this fucking thing for 10 years, and now all of a sudden I get it. Like, I wasn't really mad or anything. I was just kind of like, what? Why? Okay. You know what I mean? So I was like, and the pay wasn't even that bad either. It was one of those situations. It's like, if I turn this down, I'm an idiot. Like, I'm a flat out idiot. And yeah, of course, right now it's part-time, but he told me that, hey, willing to work full-time if we like you enough. And I was like, oh, sure, yeah, okay, let's do it, So that was kind of the whole thing. It was such a holy shit moment, and it was so unexpected, and that was kind of it. I knew from that moment on, it was like, dude, you got to get out of that other job. You have to, because if not, things are going to get worse for you, whether it be physically, mentally, whatever. Because of my health issues, I really shouldn't be working at that job, but I just kept doing it because it's all I've ever known. And there you go. It's such a strange thing. And I told the guy, I was like, I know I look nothing like I'd ever work with floristry or anything like that, but it's something I've always wanted to do and something I'm really passionate about. He's like, I don't judge. Whatever. Cool. Let's do it. I was like, okay, this is weird. But let's go. All right. So, it means a lot to me that someone was willing to give me the time of day and really give me the opportunity to do this, to do something that I've wanted to do for, like I said, 10 plus years, since, I'm 29 and I've wanted to do this since high school. And it just took me walking into this business that I wasn't planning on even applying or asking for a job. They offered me to apply, and I applied, and I got it out of the blue when I least expected it. What? So, yeah. It's just wow. And it just goes to show you to not really give up. Yeah, it's just fucking hokey bullshit, but don't give up on your dreams. If your dream is to become a florist, go for it. If your dream is to work on cars or become whatever you want to be, just don't give up. You may want to. You may want to just say, you know what, screw it. Don't. Because you're just gonna regret it for the rest of your life. And I feel like if I didn't take this opportunity to leave that old job and go for this new one, I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. And I'm forever grateful for the store owner for really giving me the opportunity to work there. And let the new chapter of my life begin, I guess, right? So that's it, guys. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I know this was a really spontaneous, random thing, but it's kind of like a life update, so to speak. So, thank you all so much for watching, and take care.